All right, just to provide some context for this video, I set a goal for 5 books, and this is my journey on vacation to see if I met that goal. If you want to see me choosing the books for this trip, you can check out my previous video, but sit back and enjoy my vacation. I thought it was pretty productive. All right, I'm starting off my reading on my vacation week. I'm starting with The Brightness Between Us by Elliot Schrafer. It's the sequel to The Darkness Outside Us. I didn't want to start a new book, so I just wanted to continue a series at the start of the week. And so on chapter 6, I'm liking it so far, and it's a beautiful day out, so I can't complain. All right, I'm realizing I didn't do this yesterday and give a little recap of my reading, but I'm still reading The Brightness Between Us by Elliot Schrafer. I'm only about a quarter of the way through. I didn't have a whole lot of downtime yesterday. I did get some reading time by the pool, but I spent most of the time socializing and catching up with my family. So hopefully everybody's at school and work today, so I'm gonna get a lot of reading time in. All right, it is the third day, but the first book is complete. I just finished The Brightness Between Us by Elliot Schrafer, which is the sequel to The Darkness Outside Us. So I don't want to talk too much about the plot of this one because it would give away some pretty big plot pieces of the first book, but these books are so beautiful. The way that the relationships are described and the moments between the characters are just chef's kiss. But it's pitched as a YA. It does not give me YA vibes. It's a well-crafted sci-fi book. I think that the reason why it's pitched as YA is because the ages of the characters in the first book are YA adjacent, but these books are so great. If you haven't read The Darkness Outside Us, you definitely should. It's also being made into a movie, hopefully soon. So I am worried that I'm not gonna finish my goal of 5 books on this trip, just because it's the third day and I've only just finished the first book. It is early in the morning though, so I just finished my coffee. I'll grab another cup of coffee, but I'm gonna pick my second book. I do feel okay with it because The Brightness Between Us was 440 pages, so I think that's my longest book. I wanted to start with the longer one, so we shall see if I continue going at a relatively nice pace. So I don't know what my next book will be. I'll probably mood pick it, but I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm being productive. I'm relaxing, and I'm reading. I mean, this is not a shock to anyone, so I'm sure you can see what is outside of my car. A Book's a Million. This is the best Book's a Million I've ever been to. It is in Clarksville, Tennessee, right outside of where my mom lives. It has the largest sale section, and I love every second of it. And so every time I come to my mom's, I always take a break during the trip. It's usually a halfway point where I go and I just look and see what they have. I don't always buy anything. I might not buy anything on this trip, but I have to see what they've updated it with. So I came by myself. I always come by myself because then I'm not rushed. I get as much time as I want. So let's, fingers crossed, this is a productive trip. Or fingers crossed it's not a productive trip because I do not need more books. So let's go. Okay, so I get that it might help with processing books, but I cannot stand this mark on the pages. It's on every single sale book. Not every single one, but enough that it's not causing me to pick this book up. Okay, so I found some stuff that I think I'm gonna buy. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, and then Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan. Just because I've read Red, White, and Royal Blue. Why haven't I read this one? And then I've actually heard really great things about this one. And so this one was only $5, and then this one is $5.97. So I think if I leave here less than 15, I'm okay, right? That's okay. Okay, so I bought the books. I almost didn't though, because I really am trying to be better about my purchasing and bringing new books into my home that I haven't read, because I'm really working on trying to cut down on my TBR. But when there's a sale, there's a sale. It's really hard for me not to take advantage of that. And I would have actually purchased more from Books A Million. They always have like really great queer YA within the sale section. But I limited myself to 2 books, the 2 that jumped out to me, just because I can't add more. So I'm not gonna add those to my week-long TBR for this week, but who knows, maybe if I get through the rest of the ones that I set out to read, I'll read those as well. But I gotta be better. And I also gotta use the library more. I do use the library, but I need to use it more. So, just 2. Okay, so I just finished Amelia, If Only by Becky Albertalli, and let me just say that, like, I thought this was so funny. I have never read anything by this author, and the humor with which she writes, like, I don't know if I was vibing with it, but I was laughing throughout the entire book. And the book itself is cute. It's YA. There's like 0 angst, and the plot is relatively straightforward, but I think she has such a way with character development that it's definitely a character-driven story, which I much prefer to plot-driven stories. I don't know, I vibed with it. I definitely recommend if you love YA. If you've read any of Becky Albertalli's stuff before, this one is a definite go-ahead. So let's reflect on my current reading this week, because it is not going as I thought it would. I've only finished 2 books. I'm about a third of the way through Heartstopper Volume 1, but I only have 3 more days here, and I have 2 full adult books left to get through. Now, I am going to probably cheese this a little bit and use some of my drive time back up to New Jersey from Tennessee, but that's still part of the vacation, right? And I'll just make Brett drive longer so I can read more. But great book. I'm loving the 2 that I finished so far, and I'm hoping that I continue with the vibes for the other 2.
Okay, so this book is actually like really good. It's way funnier than I think I was anticipating, but I'm also like weirdly drawn into the plot. Like the main character's like torn between the bride and groom of an upcoming wedding because he's best friends with both of them, and like I'm just vibing with it. It's really good so far, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm not that far into it. I'm about chapter 20. The chapters are really short too, but I find the writing to be really accessible. I know that's a weird thing to say, but like it's good. I'm hoping to finish this tomorrow so that then I have like one last final day to start the last adult book that I have, and then I can finish it on our ride home. So we shall see.
Okay, I just finished it. It was good. It was entertaining. I read it in less than 24 hours, which, you know, I'm not doing anything else, so like I have the time. But really funny, really like relevant if you're like the token gay best friend within like a friend group. But one of the things I thought was really cool was that the main character sort of like changes who he is and how he interacts depending on like which part of his friend group he's with. So he's best friends with the bride and groom, but he puts on more of like stereotypical masculine mannerisms with the groom and the bachelor party, and then leans into that more feminine side when he's with the bachelorette party, which I think is a very real thing that some gay men do, especially when they're like have multiple friend groups that kind of overlap. But you know, ultimately chaos comes forth in this book, and the main character sort of has to deal with it, and he's anxious, which I can relate to, but also torn between what the bride wants and what the groom wants. And so he kind of is like being pulled in two different directions. But there's also like a romance subplot, which is really nice. I wouldn't call this a romance book. It is a rom-com, but like there's more like comedy in it than romance, I think. But I still really enjoyed it a lot. It's a great summer read. Perfect, like on the beach, by the pool. So I'm definitely glad I picked this one. All right, so towards the end of the trip, I got really bad about recording and capturing those moments. But up until the whole ride home, I'll be honest, I didn't meet my goal. The last book that I was gonna read was Show Me Wonders, and when we got home last night, I was at 86% on my Kindle, and I finished it last night. So technically it was the same day as the vacation, but it wasn't like while we were on vacation. So I don't think I'm gonna count that. But over the course of the week that I was at my mom's, I did manage to, if we're including last night, get through 4 physical books off of my TBR. I did buy 2 books while I was there, so that's a problem. But I did also listen to 1 full audiobook. I listened on the drive down there. It was Conventionally Yours by Annabeth Albert, and I really liked it. But to give you my thoughts on Show Me Wonders by Riley Nash, this is the 3rd book in the, he has a 4-book series, Air, Earth, Wind, Fire, and out of the 3 that I've read, this is probably my least favorite. Hold Me Under was the first one in the series, and it was so incredibly good. Make Me Fall was number 2, and that also was amazing. I just was looking for that same, I don't know, vibe feeling, and I did enjoy parts of this book, but it didn't give me the same feelings that the first 2 did. It's still very enjoyable. A lot of people talk about the angst in this one, and there's a ton of angst, but maybe I'm realizing I'm not an angsty person. I don't know. Riley Nash is a great writer, and if you're gonna enter into the world of Riley Nash, I definitely recommend Hold Me Under, which is the first book. There are some trigger warnings, so please check those out. But that was my week. Pretty productive. If I do say so myself, I'm actually really happy with my reading performance while on vacation. I did get distracted by, obviously family time, but I'm happy with what I got going. Now I got to see how many more books I can read before the school year starts, which is next Wednesday. Maybe I should set a new goal. I don't know. Let me know in the comments how many books you take on vacation and if you ever get through all of them, because I'm sure you're like me and you overpack, but I don't know. Let me know, and I hope you have a wonderful week.